Hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. Today's video it blows my mind. I'm just gonna put it out there. Unbelievable. I told my sister that if I accidentally got this palette for Christmas, I would not be mad. So, having said that, if you're not subscribed to my channel, you should do that now. Click the little bell and choose all, and YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. No pressure, watch it, don't watch it, totally up to you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, it helps me out a whole lot. This is kind of a longer video. It's a lot of my thoughts on this palette and some examples of looks I've done, so I hope that you enjoy this. My face is entirely done up. I just left my eyes undone. Let's get into it. So I'm thinking I'll do a look with the eyeshadows and then talk to you about what I think, show you some pictures, and go from there. So this is what the outside of the unit carton looks like. It says, Miss Claus, the lit list. On the back it says, she sees when you're slaying, ... you know the rest. I think that's cute. I think it's a little bit odd that there's a Miss Santa Claus thing happening, but this is what the palette cover looks like. Miss Claus says, Santa's daughter is here to slay, the lit list. And then brace yourself. The inside of mine is a mess. I have been using this all week long and it looks it. The inside of the cover looks like this, and it says, you're the ho-ho hottest, XOXO Miss Claus. Again, that's a little bit weird, but I didn't design this, so I didn't get a say. And this is what the inside looks like. I will insert a picture of what the palette looks like new with a stock photo that I found on the interweb. And I'll also be adding in photos of looks that I did, and we can talk about the different shadows and textures and all of my thoughts and feelings on them. I think for the sake of trying to save a little bit of time, I'm gonna do just a really easy, kind of basic, get out the door look, because I have lots to say about this, and that's gonna take up quite a bit of time. So I'm gonna go in first with the shade Spilled Cocoa, which is right here, the second one down. So on a random fluffy brush, and I'm gonna get this going in my crease, or you know, where I would want my crease to be. But I have hooded eyes, so I had a fake one. And just like that, let this be an indication of this eyeshadow palette. Stunning. I probably should have mentioned that I, of course, did all of my face first, obviously, and I primed my eyes with my MAC paint pot in Painterly, and that's all I've done. Next, I'm gonna go with this shade right here called Ginger Snap, just a little bit lower than where I put that first shade. I'm going to go in with a flatter brush and get that shade Ginger Snap going all over my outer corner. I'm going to start from inner corner and work my way out. So using the lightest sparkly shade, I'm going to go in with the shade Bling Bling, which is this really pretty shade right here, and put that on the inner portion of my lid. So my brush is wet, the eyeshadow is wet, and I'm just going to get this going up past my crease, a little like where my natural crease is, because my eyes are hooded. When I look straight ahead, you wouldn't be able to see it if I didn't bring it up a little higher. Now I'm going to go in with the shade Reindeer, on the outer portion of my lid. My brush is the same brush, wet, and I've put the shadow on my brush and then wet the shadow itself as well. Just bouncing over where those two shades meet. Now I'm going to use a very small tapered fluffy brush and dip into the shade Blackout. And I'm going to very gently add this to the outermost corner. I'm really just pressing it in. I'm not blending it out too far, nothing crazy. Just want to add a little bit of depth. Then I'm going to pat over the black with just a little bit more of the reindeer shade, just to blend the two. Okay, that's it. Now for the lower lash line. Okay, now I'm going to use this little stubby brush and dip back into the shade Ginger Snap, which was that second brown we used in the crease and then the outer portion of my lid. With a flat liner brush, I'm going to dip into the black very, very gently and then run this super close to my lashes. I'm going to go back in with the smudger brush and just blend the two, the brown and the black. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go off camera really quickly, add some brown liner to my waterline, both top and bottom, and some mascara, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, liner and mascara's on. I used my Rare Beauty mascara. I'm loving it so much. Now, on a teeny tiny little brush, I'm going to use the shade right here called Frozen on my inner corner. This particular shade blows me away. So I tapped into it, just got a little bit on my brush, and I'm not going to wiggle or swipe. I'm just going to set my brush against my inner corner so you can see what happens. Just set it down. And I don't have to dip back in to do the other eye. And now I'm gonna blend. That shade is so bright and so beautiful. It's amazing to me. And whatever's left, I'm just gonna right above or right below my brow. Not a lot, because I don't like a lot there, but it's just stunning. That shade is absolutely amazing. Okay, we're all done with the makeup look. I think it came out so nice. Also want to mention, just from start to finish of only the eyeshadow, you know, before I did liner and lashes, it was 12 minutes to do both eyes. That to me is super fast. And I really think this is a pretty amped up look for 12 minutes. So I ordered this palette right from BH's website. This is their holiday palette. They have a bunch of other things in this collection. This was the only thing that I picked up. They released a holiday collection last year and I didn't get the palette. I'm not a huge fan of large palettes as a rule, so it was pretty easy to pass up. And then I was watching a bunch of videos and people were raving about the palette. And at that time, my collection was pretty big for somebody who just wore makeup every day and didn't do anything else with it. I've only had my YouTube channel since February, so we're talking, you know, last November. And so I didn't want to add something else I may not love to my collection. The palette just kept getting rave reviews, review after review after review. Everyone said it was amazing. And then it was out of stock and I didn't get it. And I was kind of sorry about that. People seem to thoroughly enjoy the palette. So I decided that come hell or high water, I was going to do my best to get the holiday release this year from BH Cosmetics. And as soon as it was revealed and then released, I ordered it. Came in fairly quickly, you know, standard shipping. And so the first day that I played with this palette, I wanted to use the greens. I thought they looked so fun. So I'm gonna insert a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. I went in first with the shade Gumdrop up along where, you know, I want my crease to kind of be. And then I deepened that up with the shade Slay. And then I went in with this dark green on the outer corner, and then this shade in the center of my eye, and then this on the inner portion. And every one of these shades performed beautifully, just like the ones on my eyes today did. It went on so smooth. I, of course, wet the shadows because that's what I do, and it wore amazing. And just like today, I used this shade on my inner corner. I think for all the looks, I used that shade for my like tear duct inner corner area because it was just so bright and beautiful. So for this next look, I used a lot of the same shades as I did today, but I went for more of like a halo effect. And I started the exact same way with Spilled Cocoa and then Ginger Snap. I focused those on the inner and outer corners so I could do, you know, the halo. And then I used the shade Bling Bling in the center. I used Reindeer on either side of that. And then I booped into a Frozen shade for the very center for the, you know, spotlight effect. Like today, I booped into a tiny bit of the black right there called Blackout, just to deepen up a tiny bit on the inner and outer corners. And I love color. I love bright, fun, colorful makeup. It makes my heart happy. This look, I was in love with. All day long, I kept saying, oh my gosh, my makeup looks so good. And that's not something I do. You know, I'll ask, we know, what do you think of my makeup? Do you think it looks okay? Whatever. But on this day, I loved this eyeshadow look. I thought it was amazing. I only took this one picture, so not a great one, but that was such an amazing eyeshadow day for me. Next up, I want to do a black smoky eye. I did, again, the spotlight eye, the halo in the center. Not something I typically do, but this palette has inspired me so much to play, to use different colors together, to try different shapes like the spotlight. So I start all of the looks the same way, these two shades. I'll talk about why in just a minute. So I did that, and then I went in with the black on the inside and the out of my corners, and then this shade was predominantly what I put all over my lid except for the very center. I went in with the shade Diamonds for the center of my eyelid, and then amped it up with more of the Frozen shade. I really liked how that look came out. I thought it was just beautiful. And then I did a pink look, and this one, again, so pretty. I started right out with the shade Gumdrop in my crease, and then I used the shade Wino on the outer portion of my eyelid up into my crease. And then I used some Gumdrop, you know, between that shade and the next. And then I used the shade right here called Bougie. These shadows blend together beautifully. And then I went in with Frozen on the inner corner again. Every single shade that I used that I'm talking about built on top of each other amazingly well. They blended out really well, every single shade. And then I did another green look, which you'll see here is slightly different than the first one that I showed you. I went more with the grading effect, lighter to darker. Started again with the shade Spilled Cocoa and then a little bit of Ginger Snap. And then I used the shade The Grinch on the outer portion of my eye. And then I went right in to this green shade called Mistletoe on the middle, and then Tinsel on the inner portion of my eyelid. And the last look I did was to use the blue. I had tried the blue once and ended up having to wash it off. I'll explain why in a minute, but I really wanted to do something blue to see if the blue was really bad or if I had made a mistake. And I kind of made a mistake. There's one shade in here that I'll talk to you about in a minute that drastically affects every other shade. So for the blue look, I went straight in with the shade Midnight, just all over my crease. I'm not afraid to use color in my crease. Like I don't have to do a skin tone. So I just went right in with that, blended it out. I think it looked really good. I was wearing this in my last 2 videos, I think. I did 2 videos that day. It's blended out beautifully. And then I piled on the shade Ice Queen all over the rest of the lid. I went in with a little bit of diamonds on the inner portion and then Frozen on the inner corner. You know, to deepen up the outer corner like I normally do, I booped into a little bit of the black. This black isn't super pigmented. You know, it's not the kind you put it on and then you're like, whoa, God, now I have to blend it all out. I dip into it a little bit, bang off the brush and just pat it in there. And it does exactly that. It deepens up the color that's already there. So I really, really like that for that. The white shadow in this is spectacular and white and beautiful. And the black is exactly what I need a black to be in an eyeshadow palette. So there are 2 shades that I think are just bad. Not even like, they're just bad. The first one is the shade Rudolph, which is this red glitter shade. This is just a glitter. It feels like sandpaper when you touch it. I didn't use it. I thought about it. I booped into it with my finger to see if I could make it something I would do. No, it's just bad. And the other shade is this red called Velvet. It's a little patchy. It's not red like I was hoping it would be. It's really more of a wash of red, which turns mostly pinkish. So those 2 shades, they're a loss. I'm not mad about it. It's 2 out of 30 that I can't use. I'm fine with that. The other shade is this one right here. What are you called? That's the shade Bubbly. Now this one is weird. I don't exactly understand it. When I dip into it with my finger, it feels like the ColourPop Super Shock formula. It's really nice. I think that you could dip into that, put it all over your lid, up into your crease, and it could be very easily a one and done eyeshadow look. If you put it on your eye and then try to put another shadow over it, it shears out that shadow. So I thought I could use it in my crease the first time, and then I went in with another shade, and right above it and right below it, the other shadow was pigmented, but right on it, it looked patchy and weird. So if you wanted to shear out one of the colors that was, you know, just to make it a little more toned down, you could totally put that down first and it would bring it way down. So yeah, that's it. My palette is, I don't know if you can see just how dirty it is. It's dirty. I have used this every single day. And more importantly, I wanted to use it. More often than not, I'll get a new eyeshadow palette, I'll play with it a little bit, I'll put it away, and I won't break it out again for a while. The only other palette I've gotten recently would be the Circle Loco palette from Natasha Denona. That one I used a lot. This palette makes me want to use it. It makes me want to mix and match and just keep playing with it. It stayed on my desk all week long. Every shadow in there is a joy to use. So easy, unbelievably easy. It is the good BH Cosmetics formula. It's $29. If you think that you could use any of those shades, I say absolutely pick it up before it's gone, because I mean, it's one of the best palettes I've used in a long time. And I use a lot of eyeshadows. I would almost say this is up there with Natasha Denona. That's how good it is. That's how much I love it. It's big, which I don't love. So there's that. Storage is kind of a hassle. This might be one that just stays on my desk for future use. I think it'd be a great companion palette to bring other palettes into to use. I just think the possibilities are quite literally endless. So that's my review on the BH Cosmetics Miss Claus Lit List palette. I don't love the name. I mean, Lit List, whatever, but the Miss Claus thing, that's a little weird. But I'm willing to overlook that for what's inside. It's so good. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's not too long and boring. If you were thinking about getting this palette, do it. I just love it so much. Okay, I'm done yammering about this. Thank you so much for your time. Be good and remember to be kind to you.